Hi, I'm Carmen. I'm a teacher, a fellow ADHDer, and a certified life coach. And I started this podcast with the intention of giving ADHDers everywhere a sense of understanding of this super complex neurodevelopmental disorder and to create a fabulous and safe place to share the struggles, the wins, and the newest researched strategies to help you be the you that you've always dreamed to be. Are you ready? Let's get started. Oh, self-awareness. Hi, friends. I cannot believe that it has taken me 12 episodes to do this podcast on self-awareness, because I didn't really realize, I don't go in order. When I do podcast topics, it's usually what goes to my interest. But this week, I have been working with some clients, and I noticed that there's a lot of lack of the self-awareness of ourselves and self-awareness of ourselves with ADHD authentically, in acceptance, not just acknowledgement, but in acceptance of our ADHD. So that's what we're going to chat about today, and I hope you're ready. So let's get started. So this episode is going to meet you where you're at. So whether you just received your diagnosis, whether you've had ADHD for a while and you've known it, whether you got diagnosed a while ago and you just haven't accepted it, or whether you are at a phase of self-awareness and you're just not really quite sure where you're at. So the phases of self-awareness really have to do with your own self-concept, and that's what you think and how you think about yourself as a person and as a person with ADHD. So recognizing where you are at as a person with ADHD and acknowledging that, that's the first step. It's asking yourself, is this a problem, or do I just have ADHD? And knowing and recognizing that you do have a developmental disorder. You may not be so accepting of it yet, which means you might not be using or looking up different strategies, but you have acknowledged it. You have read it on a piece of paper, or you've been told it, and you acknowledge the fact that, okay, all right, I have ADHD as a person. The next step goes into realizing that you have ADHD and that you are not broken. Realizing that there's nothing wrong with you. Phase 2 involves a lot of failing, but the big part of it, I want you to hear me here, the big part of it is reflecting. That's the part where you're going to see that massive growth. When you fail gracefully, fail into your journal and learn, reflect. Why didn't that work? What went wrong here? What could I do differently? And that's the part we're good at, because with ADHD, we usually have very innovative and out-of-the-box ideas, and we can think of new ways to do things. It's just a little bit harder when we're doing them for ourselves. We're really, really good at accommodating others, but we, for lack of a better term, we suck at accommodating ourselves. So we have to try harder at it, because it takes a lot of executive functioning. And your brain might feel a little taxed. This might take a while. Actually, no, not this might. This will take a while. I am in year 6 year 6 of self-awareness. And I have just barely reached the third one, which is what I'll talk about next. But I'm not done with 1 and 2. So after you have acknowledged the fact that you have ADHD and you have accepted the fact that you are a person who has ADHD, an awesome person who has ADHD, because you're trying to learn about yourself right here, right now, is proof. Phase 2 involves a lot of those feelings when we fail. We create, a habit stack, or we try to fix something in our relationship, and we try an avenue, and it doesn't work. We have to catch ourselves there, and that's a little bit harder because it's more of phase 3. A lot of phase 1 and phase 2 is trying stuff out, failing, and then really reflecting. And reflecting using your personality and the truth. You have to be honest with yourself to practice the self-awareness. You have to be super, super honest with yourself. Because when you are and when you do, the freeing feeling you will get is amazing, because you can create better results for yourself. You can. I believe in you. I have some pretty crappy results that I could just spew at you on this podcast. And someday I will, because it'll be a Do You Relate episode, and it'll be for people to just feel like they're part of a community, which is something else that I suggest for phase 2, which is that realizing you're not actually broken and starting to learn about your disorder. Find a community. My community is called Focused, led by Kristen Carter, and she is amazing. And I feel so accepted in this group, and it helps me learn about things that I didn't even know before. It helps me gain the confidence to actually start this podcast. It helped me with a lot of things. And so I encourage you to explore communities, to research and learn about ADHD as it relates to you. So if you have trouble with certain symptoms or impairments that stem from having ADHD, literally plug them into Google and see what comes up. If something doesn't seem right, or you don't like an article that you're reading, go out of it. I promise you there's probably a bajillion other results that will pop up, because I've had a lot of experience with researching my ADHD, because I always want to know, are my actions due to myself? Like just me? Am I doing this? Or is it part of the symptoms or limitations or what have you of my ADHD? Just doing these first 2 steps increases your self-awareness with one simple tool. Are you feeling overwhelmed? How about a little anxious? Stressed out? Is your to-do list too long? Are you tired? Are you having other problems that are making you feel different feelings? The situations in your life are not creating the feelings that you are experiencing. You create the thoughts that develop feelings. Feelings and thoughts are so intertwined. And I know that this is a super new concept, and it might be like a little woo-woo to you, but stick with me. Stick with me for a second. Our thoughts are just sentences in our brain. I know I've said this before. People with ADHD tend to live quickly. We like to go fast. We don't like to stop and think about our thoughts or our feelings, because we don't like feeling uncomfortable. I know at first I thought, so what? I fight this negativity, these negative thoughts with positive thoughts, positivity. No, the truth was you actually prove negative thoughts wrong with logic. And not logic alone, but logic along with your own self-awareness and being honest with yourself, giving yourself grace. One simple and proven method is stopping, sitting down, and asking yourself questions that are useful to developing your self-awareness. Use the questions that empower the purpose in your life. These questions include asking yourself why you are choosing to feel this way, or why is this an issue for me? Or why am I resistant to learn how to change? Those questions are much more useful than questions like, oh, why does this always happen to me? Or, oh my God, again. Ask yourself these questions out loud. Literally say them out loud. Which one helps you feel like more in control? Which one makes you feel helpless? Like you can't do anything about it? Because I have news. You can do things about your thoughts. You can change your thoughts, which changes the way you feel about situations. When you're asking yourself these helpful questions, try not to get caught up in I don't know land, because this is also not useful. This is a tool to help you gain a sense of self-awareness by helping you to make progress in the way that you want to, for your purpose in life, for your struggles, for your anything that you want to improve. I have a freebie in the show notes, so you can grab it if you want. These questions might work for you, they might not, but I put it out there because I want to share with the world that there are different ways to cope with and manage your ADHD. So grab that freebie if you want to, and let's go into phases 3 and 4. When you learn how to intentionally change how you think or feel about a situation, your results change in a positive way. I should warn you, because of our deep sense of feelings, they really seem true, but I promise you they're not. Those thoughts that are not intentional, they're not true. So when you intentionally change how you think or feel about a situation, it can do wonders in leading you to phase 3, which is the phase that not only have you realized, recognized, and accepted the fact that you have ADHD, but you are now in the phase of awareness that you know that there are symptoms, that there are side effects, that there are things that we need to work a little harder at because of our ADHD, because this is proven in the brain. Like, this is a neurodevelopmental disorder. So there are some things that we need help with. So phase 3 is more about, it's less about researching the strategies, but using them. Using them and using them and using them, and getting past phase 2, where you're using them and maybe failing, and then not starting or trying a different one. Phase 3 includes that reflection part of it. So you can reflect and then develop a new plan and then execute it. And even if you fail again, you might actually try again, or you might not. In phase 3, things kind of look like this. I make a workout plan. I do my nutrition plan. I meal plan for the week, and I set out my workouts. And then the week might actually look like I do all my workouts, but I forget my meals half the week, and I go to fast food restaurants. There's nothing wrong with that. That is something that will most likely happen in some way, shape, or form when you're practicing. I want you to know that reflecting on that, I knew that I had to bring like 2 lunches to work at a time so that I didn't forget. So that it created less of a chance that I would forget those meals that I made for myself. Another way that you know you're in phase 3 is if you continue to practice after you failed multiple times. And you use new strategies and you say, okay, this one didn't work. That's all right. We're going to try this one. We're going to try again. We're going to get back up and we're going to try again. Phase 3 is all about that. Phase 4 is a little bit more simple because it kind of just involves realizing and knowing that this is a lifelong process. It's been proven by scientists that kids, adults, older adults and people older than older adults, elderly people, everybody. People who have ADHD, we don't grow out of it. It's in our lives forever. So understanding that this self-improvement is continuous is phase 4. Accepting that it's continuous and being okay with that. That's phase 4. I can't tell you that I've reached phase 4 yet. I could tell you that I've accepted it. I could tell you that I do research it. I learn about it. But I don't always realize that something maybe that I put in place might cure that symptom or part of my ADHD. Logically, I know that it won't, because logically I know that the phases of self-awareness, that's what it includes. And you can be very educated on the 4 phases and stay at phase 1 for a while. It's about practicing, improving your self-concept. Because if you don't think you're that great of a person to begin with, then why are you going to learn how to become better with ADHD, with rejection sensitivity, with all of the other things that come along with executive functioning and the parts of the brain that don't work in the same way as neurotypicals? If you don't think you deserve that, then chances are you won't do it. I've decided that I do deserve that, and that others deserve that, which is why I started this podcast, because I want to spread awareness. Adult ADHD is very, very misconceptions in the population. I've had people actually reach out to me about this podcast, people who don't have ADHD, who tell me, "Oh my goodness, I had no idea." Like all these things. I had such misconception about ADHD. And that, it makes me happy. It does, because I'm educating people. I'm helping people learn. But it also makes me sad because we're still at this point that people my age don't understand it. And those are the feelings that I'm still working through, and maybe you are too. Maybe you're still at phase 1. I'm telling you, the questions will help you. If not, find a coach, find a therapist, or find someone who can help. I promise you, the road is long, but it doesn't have to be as hard as we make it. And we're going to get through it with self-awareness and the power to change our thoughts and our emotions. We will get through it, and we will be stronger, and we will thrive. That's all I have today for you folks. Stay authentic, my friends. See you next time. Hey, listener. If you're enjoying this show, you should totally subscribe to it so that you can see when new episodes pop right up into your feed. In Spotify, if you go up at the top and hit click follow, it'll notify you every time there's a new episode. Then, really quick, as you're listening to this, right under the follow little bubble, there's a rating bubble. If you could just rate this podcast and give some feedback, possibly maybe answer the poll question that's underneath the podcast, I would really, really appreciate it. I hope that you're enjoying whatever you're doing today or tonight. Have a great one.